the Mini, an icon of British motoring, synonymous with compact hatches that are fun and sporty, little go-karts, if you will. It's a wonder that this remains so popular when you consider that the world is all about bigger and bolder. I'm talking about SUVs, right? But I guess that's what an icon does. It trumps crazes, regardless of what the craze is. Mini is continuing the tradition of small and fun compact hatches with this Clubman JCW or John Cooper Works all four. This happens to be in the Untold edition, which means it's got gold mags. I can't cope. I thought I didn't like them, but I actually think I've started to love them. And why shouldn't it have gold mags? I say go all out if you're going to opt for the flagship Clubman. The Mini's design is already fun because the Clubman is a longer and somewhat more practical version of the hatch. It makes even more sense to add a bit of flair to it, hence the gold. It is sage green in color and the badges and edges are finished in refined brass. It also boasts the JCW badges, like its standard flagship sibling, on the wheels and the bonnet. The funkiness continues into the cabin, so let me get in and show you, mainly because it's still raining and my hair's going to get frizzy. So it has all these brass little trim here, these elements I think looks very cool. These seats are also in that sage green. When the car is closed though, and the sunroof is closed, it actually looks quite dark. It looked like it's black, but now you can see the sage green. Very funky cabin, very mini. The center console, I think, still appeals to those Mini buyers. The graphics on this are very cute, very fun actually. So that I love about it. Apart from that, I can't say I love it. I don't think it's particularly comprehensive, not particularly user-friendly, but that might just be, in need of familiarity if you must. This is obviously a fancy pants Mini, right? So it's got most of the bells and whistles, including this sunroof. Now, for the price that you're paying, I would like this to have been electric, and I still haven't figured out if one can open the back one, but I'm sure you can. I just can't figure out how to do it. There are, of course, a bunch of options that you can add. Like I mentioned, this is the Untold edition, which actually, this is a standard JCW Clubman, but the Untold edition will cost you 58,000 Rand for these little extras. But this upgrade of sorts also means you gain features such as the interior light package, the Mini Excitement package, and adaptive LED headlights. There is only one glaringly obvious omission, and that is of wireless Android Auto. iPhone lovers, though, never fear. So the Clubman is sort of the station wagon, right, of a standard Mini hatch. Not to say it's hugely more practical or spacious. I think this legroom is okay for me, but I'm not exactly tall. I don't think sort of much taller adults are going to be thrilled back here. I would say it's mostly for kids, but you can actually see I've got my son's car seat in here on purpose. Very easy to put in, by the way, which is not often said for many cars. These doors open wide enough for you to get it in. His legs, though, kick this seat, and if you push it forward, that passenger doesn't have a lot of room. So again, it might be the stretch sort of Mini, but not as practical. The boot, however, is 360 litres, so it's okay. You've also got those double doors, which for me look cool, but practically are a bit of a pain because you have to close the one on the left before you can close the one on the right, and that's not always what you're thinking about when you're trying to throw things in the back. Now, I mentioned the sunroof earlier and I couldn't figure out how to open this. I've just figured it out. So again, it should be electric for the price that you're paying, but anyways, this is how you do it. What bothers me there is that the person in the back is the only person who can do it. If I want this open and I'm sitting in front, I have to get out, come around and open it. Or if I want it closed. A little bit of a pain. I keep using the word fun in this review, and how can I not when it feels like I'm driving a toy? I mean, this has got a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol with 225 kilowatts of power and 450 newton meters of torque. Guys, this is a small little car. Those are big numbers for a small car. And you can feel it. I really love driving this car
for what it's meant to be driven for, right? So I pop it into sport mode and it sort of corners like it's on rails thanks to the suspension setup. But that also means that the suspension and the ride is quite harsh. So you do feel every little bump and nook in the road. But you're sitting really low down to the road, it feels like, which, you know, if you want an engaging drive, that's kind of the position you want to be in. But now you might want to be careful how you drive if you want to save on fuel. Mini claims 7.7 litres per 100 Ks. I am sitting at 10.4 and I haven't managed to get that down, but I have had it in sport mode most of the time. I'm going to put it to sport mode now. How can you not want it in sport mode? Would you want it in eco? What would be the point in spending all this money if you're not going to drive it for what it was intended, which is to just have fun. Woohoo! My goodness. This fun is that you never want to drive it, just sort of warm it. You want to give it horns all the time.
And when you consider you'll be spending around 860,000 Rand, I think this is something one must consider. With that said, however, if you don't mind a rather high fuel consumption and you don't require much space or practicality, and what you are really after is a fun and engaging drive that will make you feel like a kid again, then the Mini Clubman JCW is for you. Regardless of your feelings about this Mini and or the price, you might want to reconsider when you realize that we might be seeing very close to the end of these internal combustion engine cars. I know, how depressing. But BMW wants to be all electric by 2030, so you might want to get this while it's hot, literally.
Welcome back to Ignition GT. It's safe to say that station wagons have had their heyday in South Africa, with only a few practical options like the Subaru Outback and Volvo V90 Cross Country remaining. The Mini Cooper Clubman costs nearly as much, yet isn't half as practical. So, who exactly does it appeal to? Gentlemen, it's a weird car, isn't it? And I feel like I am part of the minority because I've always liked a Clubman. I'm a Mini person. And my wife calls it a clown car. There's so many things that people say about the Clubman specifically. So who likes this car? Do you guys like this car?
Yeah, I do. I think once you get into the Mini family, you're a Miniac, as they like to call it.
Yeah.
So understanding it's someone who gets a normal Mini Cooper, and then when they want something a little bit more bigger, then they go Clubman. So if you like a station wagon, but you still want it to be a Mini, this is what it appeals to. It's still a very left field car. It's a left field brand. It's for the creative. It's not really for everyone. But if you wanted something longer and more sort of practical, I guess, then Clubman is the one.
It's an interesting car because for me, I found that the dimensions are weird. Back space isn't all that great, and boot space also isn't that great, but then when you look at it from outside, it's a very long car. So it's probably more for the aesthetics than anything else, I guess. What's your experience, Richard? You spent some time in the new Clubman.
I think the issue with the Clubman is that it's exactly what you said. It's an awkward car. It's a lovely car, but it's a lovely awkward car, if that makes sense. It really doesn't have a slot. If you look at the brand, there's a lot of variation in the Mini brand, and I think that's what it is. Exactly what you said. It goes to the arty and the creative sort of people, the Ciscos of the world. So that's why it appeals to them, because it's a different variation of a very cool, chic car.
Yeah.
If you look at what it's been sold to, the Minis are traditionally second cars. If you look at who is buying them, they're the mom's taxi or the family taxi. I shouldn't generalize in this 2023, but it's normally a second car, and so now it becomes a very expensive second car at close to R1 million with the JCW, as you mentioned, with the all-4, with all the goodies added onto it. So it becomes a very expensive second car. I get why there hasn't been such an uptake, because there aren't a lot of people who appreciate the vehicle as it is. It's a cool variation of a cool car. That's what it boils down to.
I don't think a lot of people know that the JCW's got 225 kilowatts and 450 newts, which is actually like proper like fast hatch power. But then when you look at it, it's probably about 860, 870 the last time I checked, but I think it could be a bit more, but call it 900,000 rand. Hot hatches now have become 900,000 rand. So if people knew that you could actually rather get yourself a JCW or 4 with that kind of power, I wonder if they wouldn't actually just get it then for the performance. What do you guys think?
Look, you are right. Look, it is a very high-performing car, and it's got a lot of power. But the way I see it, it put itself as a fashion item. So you get a Mini because it's personalized and it's custom. So you got Untold edition. It comes in beautiful colors, and it's got these gold accents. Where in the other sort of brands can you get a car that looks stylish?
True. What I love is that you could probably just line up next to a GTI at the same pricing and just drop them, but you still look so stylish as you do it. You know?
You would phone me after that.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Guess what I did?
What I love about minis.